Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Solutions Brewing Podcast. I'm doing the intro because I don't want to get hosed with the outro.
Still might happen.
He's learning.
Brendan, if they want to learn how to do the
And that's the episode, folks.
Record time, guys. That was 15 seconds.
World's shortest podcast episode. In true last-minute fashion, like we always do, Steve decided to actually kind of surprise us this week. He said he found an article on Reddit about how many red flags?
5 red flags at a brewery that are red flags, and you probably shouldn't drink beer there. And we're going to discuss if those actually are red flags or maybe not.
All right, so
I have these to see if they reply to our brewery,
our future brewery.
Maybe, yeah. So I haven't seen this article. Brandon, you haven't seen this article.
Cold ass.
Steve is the only one, so Steve is going to read these out, and I guess we'll do reactions. Thoughts?
Yeah, but I was going to say, but first though, Brendan, I heard it while we were having the business meeting that something was grinding your gears this week.
You know what really grinds my gears? No, this was so over the weekend. Like we're starting to get into September season here. And kind of that traditional Oktoberfest time frame. So a lot of these events are coming out. FAR is hosting a fairly big Oktoberfest.
Yeah, which is incredible.
In a few weeks, which is great for them. But driving down the road, listening to, I can't even remember what radio station an ad came on for. I think the FAR Oktoberfest, but very clearly just somebody from the radio station media department reading out whatever the advertisement the script was, and all of it was fine. Yes, here, come to Oktoberfest, have a great, enjoy the beer and all that sort of stuff. And then they tried to end it with a traditional German cheers, which normally, like, if you go Prost.
Yeah,
this person on reading it wasn't German, not really a beer drinker, I'm assuming, because they went it wasn't. I'm trying to remember how they mispronounced it now. It was very
Is it
Prost. They said Prost. Yeah, Prost. I was like, oh no.
Oops.
Oh no. And then the ad just ended. I was like, and I'm driving. I'm starting to. I'm like, oh my god. My wife gets all weird. What's going on? I was like, no, they mispronounced the word so badly on the radio. That's it. If you're gonna try to use a different language, you should try to learn the inflection that should be used on that language,
especially before an ad. Like you think you'd take like 30 seconds to be like, oh, what is this word? It's German for cheers. Oh, how do you pronounce that? And then go to the internet. Google Translate will tell you how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Gross.
Or you could go have some tortilla chips with jalapenos and.
Dude, I love jalapenos.
Casadillas.
Quasadillas.
Yeah, so you see my issue.
Fair enough.
But that's all I had. A very, very minor thing. Moving on to your Reddit list. Where is it?
Okay, so some of these will not apply to us because these are more taproom focused, which we don't have yet. But this would apply to if you did go to, let's say, a brewery and this did have that sort of thing, whether or not you would agree. So the first one, we're going to start you guys off really, really easy, is pouring beers into dirty or previously used glassware. So if you finish a beer and you go up and say, I want another, that they then take that glass and just refill the beer with it. Is that a red flag or not?
Are you allowed to do that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If
But
it's
if
your
you saw
glass,
that
you
at the
can
brewery.
use it, right? I would say it's kind of. I'm going to call it a yellow flag because it's
Caution.
I don't know if I call it a red flag. I can see how some people would be horrified, but if they
It depends on the situation. Are you tasting a new beer? Are you walking down the line, or like?
Well, I'd consider more like if you just handed them the glass and asked for another beer, and they just automatically took that glass and filled it, then that would be a problem. But if you said, here's my glass. I want the same one. Please just reuse the same one. Like if you ask for it, then I don't think obviously there's nothing wrong with it. But if they automatically did it, I think I would say that would be a thing because you want a clean glass every time for your beer.
Well, instead, like if you're being environmentally friendly and telling them not to wash the glass and just getting the same beer in it, that's a green flag because that's green and good for the environment.
It's green as an eco nug. I think it's situational. If you're getting the same beer, I don't see any problem with it. If you're trying a new beer, then it's a huge red flag because it's like you shouldn't mix it. Yeah. There's also a lot of nonverbal cues that can happen here. Like if you leave it halfway down the bar and you walk up to the bartender and they go and grab your glass and refill it, that's a bit of a sketchy thing. But if you walk up to the bartender and you give them your glass and say, I want one of the same, like you're implying that you want to use the same glass too, right? So yeah. I don't know. I agree with Rob. Yellow flag, situational.
Situational yellow flag. Okay, so Reddit's like, that's a red flag, and you guys are like, nope, it's a caution flag. All right. Second,
I think us agreeing with Reddit too much is also a bit of a red flag. So
yeah, don't agree with Reddit. Occasionally, Reddit gets some things right, but don't agree with Reddit.
You're right. 9gag is way better to agree with.
Okay, so this one is on beer types. So there are quote unquote no classics on the menu. So if you go to a brewery and there's not like anything like a classic Kolsch or a Pilsner or like an English brown, and it's all kind of like weirder beers, would you call that a red flag or a yellow or green flag?
Neither.
I
don't think that's an any flag. That's
the reasoning is that having a classic like non like weird beer on the menu shows that the brewery can actually make real beer and is not hiding behind stuff.
Well, I take offense to the term real beer.
Yeah. Maybe they just don't like those styles. Like, it's not uncommon for a brewery to be like, you know what, we don't like lagers or we don't like Kolsches, so we don't make them.
I mean, you could have breweries that are entirely IPA focused, entirely sour focused. Like Dandy, they can make those beers, and they do on occasion, but for the longest time, their tap menu was sours and stouts.
Sours, stouts, and fruit beers.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that's a red flag. That just means it's not a brewery that serves beer that you like. That's your problem, not the brewery's problem.
It means they're trying to find their niche as opposed to trying to play in a potentially saturated part of the market, right?
And I agree with that because, making a good standard beer, this is a typical good brown ale, or this is a good Feist beer or something like that. I don't mind.
Neither of those I would consider as standard beers. So
no, so a Feist beer would be that's a German standard. Having that for...
we live in Canada, yeah. Steve.
But I'm saying
specifically
land of the lager.
But I would say I not have that on the menu. My taste nowadays, if I was starting out, sure. But now I'm looking for the weird stuff. I'm looking for the interesting flavor combinations and the other stuff. So to me, that's not a flag at all.
No,
I think we're all in agreement here.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Yeah,
yeah, screw you, Reddit.
Reddit, you guys are weird.
Yes, they are. And then related to and leading into, the options consist of IPAs and only IPAs.
That's along the same lines. It's whatever. Yeah. If the brewery really likes IPAs, people are buying the IPAs, then who cares?
Again, if you really like IPAs, it's obviously not a red flag that it's an IPA-focused brewery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And especially with IPAs, we're the prime example of that. We have one of the best IPAs in the province, I would say.
If we can. I don't say so.
And no, tooting my own horns here.
Totally out IPA.
I'm tooting Rob's horn. It's his recipe, so I'm tooting Rob's horn.
Yeah.
And for all our loyal listeners, featured this week in Sobeys Buy Local Flyer.
Exactly.
At $11.99 a 4-pack. Fantastic price for a fantastic
incredible
beer.
Price.
Not only is it the best IPA, it's the best priced IPA.
I know. Like it. But so the thing with that is IPAs 10 years ago were just friggin' IBU bombs. They were just let's see how much friggin' grass we can make this person taste. But nowadays, with the the age of the hazy IPA, people are just like, there's so much variety now in IPAs that you can't say that anymore. There's an IPA out there for you. You just haven't found it yet at this point.
Yeah, and it's not just on the brewer side. Like, there's been a lot of work put into different hops and experimental hops, and the brewers are now experimenting with a lot of different ways to use those. What can you get of the actual hop flavor that isn't just bitterness, right?
Yeah.
We've come a long way since using hops as a preservative for sailing ships.
Yeah. Okay, so next one. If you walk into a brewery tap room and they're serving beers in exclusively pint glasses.
I don't think
like even their 9% ones. It's a good deal.
So they make.
I think that's illegal, actually, but yeah.
You have to price it up, right?
Yeah. But it's basically that what they're saying is that it's the standard pint glass, so like the narrow, it's the slightly narrow to the flare.
You mean like not the okay, so if they're not doing like a glass to the shape of for whatever you're drinking, right? So like if you don't have like a Pilsner flute for a Pilsner, like a flute glass for Pilsner, or
so like literally they have like 20 beers on tap and they're all getting served in the same pint glass. Is that a red flag?
No, I don't think it's a red flag. I think that breweries that do it. Yeah, Brendan's showing off his glass right now, which is standard.
Like the classic ale glass,
which I do drink most of my beer out of.
I don't think so. I think if a brewery is able and has the means to, serve you quote unquote proper glass for the style, then all the power to them. But I don't think it's mandatory.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's like, give me a couple different sizes so I can have like a 18 ounce pour, and I can have like a 9 ounce pour and all that kind of stuff. But if all you could afford is just the one type of glass, I'm not going to care.
I don't even agree with you there. It's a tap room. It's not a bar or a restaurant or something like that. They're brewers. If all they have are 20 ounce pint glasses, then that's what they sell. Their price will reflect it. Mm-hmm. And if all you can have is a half pint, then bring a friend, I guess. I don't know.
I'm sure the person that put that there is thinking more in terms of presentation. They'll be like, oh, how can you be a real brewery if you don't know what style of glass to serve with a beer?
Well, but that's the difference between a brewer and a cicerone, right?
Yeah.
So in the actual
not all brewers are cicerones.
True. They say it's the if I get served a beer in the generic nondescript shaker pint, which is that standard one. Yeah.
This one brought to you by Guinness.
Yeah.
So I think it's more on the it's more on the glass style rather than the glass size. So with that clarification, would you care?
Not at all.
No, I don't care.
I drink wine out of coffee mugs sometimes. I mean,
do you know that a Frenchman just fainted?
Several.
Sacre bleu.
No, man, but interestingly enough, the Italians didn't. Like I've been to restaurants in Italy where that is what they did, and it was the best meals I've had in the country.
Well, the Italians have a very laid back personality,
and they still have fantastic wine.
Yeah, I would agree. It's like I don't care how the beer comes to me, and I don't care that if the shape of the glass would bring the aromas more to my nose as I'm sipping it. I don't give a shit.
That's what it mostly does. I mean, it doesn't really affect flavor. It's more of a presentation thing, right? So
yeah, if you can afford to have a couple different styles of glasses, sure, but what I care about is the product in the glass,
or to keep them separate.
And if you're a brewer,
it's more of like an organization thing, right? Because then you're like, how many of X type of glass versus Y type of glass are you going to need, and then.
And there's a
if you run out of that glass, are you going to be like, sorry, we can't serve you the beer because we don't have the right glass? Like,
you're going to have to wait.
You have to wait till we wash those glasses.
And then you got to wait for them to be cool, so they don't serve you the beer in a hot glass. And then you move from the steam sanitizer into the freezer to try and chill it, and you break the glass. Now your overhead's gone up.
Yeah.
Basically, do you want the brewer spending his money on the beer, on the different types of glasses for the beer? Yeah. And for small breweries, that's an actual decision you have to make. When you're big enough and you're established, and like Rob says, if you can afford all the different types of glasses without it impacting your operation, awesome.
I wonder what.
But if you follow this rule, you're basically saying I only want to go to well-established breweries instead of trying new ones.
Yeah, and you know what? I wonder if this person doesn't go to breweries with mug clubs, because you're going to get everything into your one glass, your one mug that you have, right? So, you know, I think it's just people who are expecting the people who wrote this list are expecting a certain type of experience, and not every brewery is going to give that, and it's really. Really, that's kind of like personal. Like, whatever you go to the places that give you the experience that you want, right? That they exist, they're there. I don't think it's a red flag. It's just personal preference.
Oh, okay. And for our last red or potential flag, when you walk into the brewery, and it looks like the place has been decorated from the free section of Craigslist.
I love Cold Garden.
Yeah, or in Canada it would be Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace.
I haven't been to Cold Garden for a long time, so I don't know if they're still like that or not. They might actually have purchased some things because that brewery is so popular.
They're about half and half because they do have proper bench seating now, or like a decent amount of bench seating, but they also still have their kitschy. Well, we found this couch, we found this chair, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so they basically say, if you walk into a place like that, you can tell they have no money because they've basically furnished their place with whatever they found on.
But every brewery, when they start with, has no money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's kind of the way a business is. You start out with the minimum amount of capital that you can get away with to try to make a go of it, right?
Yeah.
And if even when you're throwing everything on the line and doing the really big decisions like Snake Lake Brewing and Snake Lake and Sylvan Lake, very, very big investment. Their money went into their equipment. And you put it into the equipment, into the product that you're trying to brew, right? Yeah. It's the decorations out front. That the brewery doesn't survive solely on the tap room experience. It survives.
Decorations aren't going to bring you back, man.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the quality of the product that's coming into it. Imagine like fine dining restaurants where everything's great front of house, but the food is terrible. The restaurant's not going to survive versus the taco truck that makes excellent tacos. Can make a bunch of money. It's where do you want the brewery to spend the money that they have? There's a finite amount of it. Yeah. And actually, the money should go into the beer.
Actually, speaking of that, I was at Global Fest on the weekend, and I had the most amazing dumplings from like one of the sketchiest trucks in friggin' awesome. Well, not the sketchiest truck in Calgary, but it was among the sketchiest. And like it was really, really good. Like it was awesome. But I totally disagree with this point. Like that was the charm of going to Cold Garden back in the day before it got way too busy and you can't actually get in there anymore. Is that I didn't sit on my grandma's couch, but I sat on something that was in the era of my couch. Yeah. Well, because it was the style of time. It was that real wood furniture. So it was real wood. It was like the high back furniture, and it was like the brown and brown and beige, and also colorful paisley flowers on it.
Oh, those are the classic couches.
I know.
My grandma had a couch like that. Yeah.
Everyone's grandma had a couch like that, and I sat down, and it, like, I knew it wasn't, but it was damn close. It was like the pattern was different. That's how I knew it wasn't. But I'm like, this is so close to it. And you know, Cold Garden had great beer, and I liked the atmosphere, and I liked sitting on grandma's couch. It was an amazing time. So yeah, that I completely disagree with that flag, and it's a green flag instead. Because then that's how you know they've spent literally everything else on the beer in the process, and maybe not. Maybe
they just didn't do it right. But I mean, I wouldn't discount them from walking in the door like that. I would, at least try what they've got first.
You try the beer and you make your decision based on the beer.
That's
and if they serve it to you in a dirty glass, then maybe you start thinking they have no money.
I mean, that's like, don't judge a book by its cover, right? Just because you don't like what you see on the outside doesn't mean it's got a delicious liquid center.
This liquid beer has a liquid center.
Yeah.
Oh no. What has gone wrong?
It's bizarre.
So for out of the 5, there was 1 yellow flag and basically disagreement across the board for the rest of it. So I think we did our duty and we disagreed with Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which subreddit did that come from?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was an ask me one, like ask me anything or like ask where they just pose a question sort of thing. Because it's not coming back like a specific one. So
those are pretty random.
Oh, actually, it was an R beer. That's what it was.
There you go.
Yeah.
Art beer, I don't know, man. You guys might be a little snobbish there, I think.
I think so.
Beer snobs never.
No, that didn't breed contempt with us. No, I never did that. But yeah, I think grinding my gears and talking about how wrong the internet is, I think that's a pretty good episode, boys.
How wrong the internet is.
Brendan, if the internet wanted to tell us how wrong we are instead, how would they do so?
I was just about to throw it over to Rob.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. I was going to say thank you for not throwing it over. I was being
nice.
I was just kind of thinking about it. I'm like, I wouldn't have done it. I would have refused to be like, you son of a bitch.
Just stormed out.
Throw my arms up. This podcast is over.
I'll go edit and find a previous time when one of you guys did it and throw that in.
That's right. I'll take the extra effort to cut that in. Yeah.
Anyway, if the internet wants to disagree with us or tell us why we're right, they can reach out to us through our website, www.solutionsbrewing.com. There's a contact us link on the page. And that sends an email to us at our email address, noproblems@solutionsbrewing.com. Or you can always reach out to us on our socials, Facebook and Instagram, @SolutionsBrewingCo.
Excellent.
And if anybody's going to be in Canmore this weekend, we'll be there at the Canmore Highland Games, Taste of the Highlands.
Yes.
We'll be there Saturday. 9?
I will be in a kilt, and one of you two will be in a kilt, and it'll be a great time.
Well, there might just be 2 of us there.
There will be kilts.
We'll see on the game day decision, but Rob, there's a high chance you're going to be wearing a kilt.
And there's also a high chance that our stout, always in high demand at festivals, will be there.
Yes, very high chance.
It may or may not be wearing a kilt.
That's right. So we're bringing the stout, missing piece, and a ginger beer.
Yeah.
If anyone is interested, come check them out.
Should we bring some of the IPA too, or no?
No, I'm going to buy all that.
Okay.
I'm going to buy all that.
Well, I was going to say...
I'm probably going to buy some because it's got the new label on it. Yes, by the way, we got new labels.
Oh, yeah.
So really, really funny quick side story.
Have you picked those up yet, Steve?
No, I haven't. Right. But I think I'm picking them up tomorrow. I think I have time during my lunch break to go do it. So hilarious thing this week, I messaged the guys because we're doing the promotion this week, and I'm just like, when is the new beers going to arrive? And Rob's like, oh, it's going to be picked up Tuesday, be there by Wednesday. I'm like, okay, good, because we're down to 26 cases, and today we're down to 13. The new cases are up there, they're almost in the system, but it's we are almost completely out of Friends Night Out, which is awesome.
It's doing awesome, but it's getting a restock here now, literally now. So,
literally. By
the time this airs, it'll be fully restocked.
Indeed.
Yeah, and we're gonna have the new label too. It's our second new label, so I definitely have to take a case home. Yeah.
And anybody who wants to buy a case off us in the Calgary area can go to our website and go to our store.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
And on that note, thank you everyone so much for listening. We will talk to you guys next time.
Take care,